buff Furious Webs?
I believe it does.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Like obviously at level 1 it doesn't matter too much because the threshold's 600 damage, 600 damage
Right.
doesn't have 600 HP. But later on,
One of those older changes too was the fact that it was 3 or 4 patches ago. It's now up to 15 seconds. So you just take them once, and it's just like you have to sit back for what it feels like half an hour just waiting for that charge to go away. Of course, the big dependency I think for Tunisia in this laning phase and Earthshaker end up roaming into the middle lane because obviously your old school mids like Zeus, like SF, those heroes are very susceptible to smoke ganks, and that's why when the smoke came into the game, we would see a lot of those mids fade away. They were just so susceptible to those early support rotations and the smoke ganks that were solely because of that. And so we saw a lot of those mids fade away, and that's still going to be a strong possibility here that Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker could just continually shut down the Zeus by making that rotation into the middle lane. And of course, the bit of an advantage for Norway would be the Elder Titan may feel a little bit bolder and moving forward and laning, getting some experience, but I don't think you're really too concerned. As long as you shut down the Zeus, the Elder Titan won't be much of a problem. So we can see both teams are going to be running very, very normal lanes here, defensive tri-lane on both sides. Mid, Storm Spirit going up against the mid Zeus, and 2 offlaners, Elder Titan as well as Tidehunter. Probably going to be dealing with the left time. Team Norway are going to be starting off with the top rune, waiting for a bounty rune to spawn. They're going to give that over to the Ogre Magi. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, we're going to have Skywrath Mage finding himself a pretty little blue rune here, the double damage, being able to add in that extra harassment power up against the Elder Titans. So all in all, I'm expecting things to be pretty mild for the most part, except for the roaming duo of Tunisia. I'm not really sure if you roam Norway's supports out as much, as I feel like you need to put more pressure on the Tidehunter than you do the Elder Titan.
yeah, I think for the first 3 minutes, hold that lane off, keep the Tidehunter out of XP range, but you need to make some move towards mid before Storm hits 6, because you need to put that pressure on him. And you do have kill potential. Once Zeus hits, level 4 or 5, the Storm just evaporates.
A heavy amount of lightning bolt damage. So as you can see, Norway are doing a successful job. Yeah, I think all you really need is just get to be the Ursa in order to have those upgraded boots. And then from there, you can probably roam out of lane a little bit more. But just in the beginning, making sure that the Tidehunter doesn't get to level 3 or 4 and has that high level of Anchor Smash and that high level of Kraken Shell is very important. The double pull coming out here is only going to be able to catch out one of the melee creeps. So the lane may actually, yeah, you can see the Tidehunter is making sure that double pull won't actually work out for them. He's going to make sure to grab some of those creeps and get some experience for himself. So a good start there. Always kind of risky pulling on the Dire side solely because that double pull always puts you in such in close range to the offlaner, and most good offlaners will make sure to intercept.
Yeah, like you were saying, the Radiant supports have dewarded that Observer from the Elder Titan, so he's got no vision. He's using his Spirit to scout them out and like, oh, where are they? They're coming.
Yeah, he's actually gotten level 2, surprisingly enough. Now, Durka, this is something that I've been kind of talking with a lot of different pro players. Whenever I get to see the Elder Titan, I have to ask them, do you think nowadays you should be going for an early level of Echo Stomp on the Elder Titan, or do you still go for the 0-4-4 build?
I think you still go 0-4.
I mean, just one level adds in just an extra level of utility to this hero that is normally, I mean, pre-level 9. If you go for the 0-4-4 level, before level 9, you are kind of useless in many team fights. Sure, you add in a lot of extra damage, but when it comes to actually being able to have some larger impact than just being like, hey, I increase the rest of your damage, you're going to need to disable, and sometimes just one level of Echo Stomp can save so much.
The trouble is that cast time, 1.4 seconds for a 2 seconds sleep. It's like not even a stun. It's not really worth it when you look at the maths behind the aura and the spirit. You're getting extra movement speed, damage that increases your survivability in the off lane just with the movement speed. You can go in for the last hits. As soon as these supports leave the lane, he's going to be...
poor Tidehunter. Getting wiped out by the tri-lane up in the top lane. That's going to be your first blood. Vengeful Spirit will pick up the last hit on that one, so just overextending himself just a little bit too much, trying to intercept that pull. And you can see Norway are already going to be going for the early smoke rotation into middle. They already put down the Tidehunter. They're going to feel like he's going to be playing scared, so what better time to make that rotation and see if they can shut down the Storm Spirit nice and early.
And Zeus is level 4. It is absolutely perfect timing.
So he's got that heavy nuke, 175 damage, plus the extra bit coming out from your static field. And here it goes. Vengeful Spear pops the smoke, and immediately Link is far enough back, won't be caught by that one. And the support's probably going to be heading back up to top to make sure this Tidehunter doesn't get too much experience. They got to make sure he doesn't get an early Ravage. And besides the fact that Sunderland, when he picks up those upgraded boots, they've got so much extra kill power up against the Tidehunter.
I like the build from this Ursa, going for 2 in the Earthshock. You don't necessarily need the Overpower and Fury Swipes maxed out, because with the Kraken Shell, if that does proc after you dish out most of your damage, you need something to slow him down further so you can finish him off.
Right. There's always the potential. We haven't really talked about this, but the early Roshan is a strong possibility here for the Ursa. If they end up feeling like they get enough room to sneak that Ursa into the Roshan pit, like he only needs the regular lifesteal. Like he no longer needs Vlads in order to take on Roshan. So you can actually do it very early on, especially if you get some extra auras such as minus armor thrown into the pit, as well as the Bloodlust, the very, very early level of Bloodlust being picked up by the Ogre Magi. So a 1-1-1 build. You can see the rotation coming in. They're going to put it slow onto the Ursa. Not really much they can do with this without mass teleports in. So they're just going to kind of force these heroes back, make sure Tidehunter does actually get some of the aggro off of the tower and grab some of that experience.
That was well played by Norway. You know, a lesser team would have gone in there thinking, okay, it's only Scarth and Tidehunter, we can take at least one of these guys. Then you've got to think about the TP from Earthshaker, possibly Lifestealer or Storm, but they don't have TPs right now.
Right.
But that Fisher, you know, if he comes in TPs, blocks someone on the wrong side of that ramp.
Yeah, we've already seen him go for one Fisher block up against the Elder Titan, who is now picked up his Tranquil Boots and is about to proc level 4. So this is honestly not too bad of a lane for him. Norway is doing a great job. He's constantly throwing out his spirits to make sure he sees those supports. In fact, right now, you could see due to the vision he has right here, he's feeling pretty confident about moving forward and at least getting an experience range, if not actually grabbing some CS, or maybe even a couple of denies here. Forced back by the Earthshaker. Not much is going to come out of that, Joe. Oh, Jesus. Tidehunter ends up going down as the ultimate is thrown out from the Zeus. Now they're going to find the Skywrath Mage as well. Gets the stun on him, and now the Vengeful Spear just needs the vision. They'll get it and should be able to right-click him down. Earthshaker comes in, tries to provide some body blocking, but there's nothing he can do, and now gets hit by the slow from the Ursa, who runs out of tower range. Meanwhile, the rest of the supports will chase down the Earthshaker. Storm Spirit gets a bit of a stun. Blood is actually away now. Now it's Norway who's in some trouble, as Bingo's going to come in, slow down the Vengeful Spirit, quick teleport away, and still no mana on this Earthshaker. Meanwhile, Storm Spirit's going to be chasing down the Ogre Magi, still has plenty of mana, so should be able to pick up this kill. The Zeus nowhere in range to be able to help him out. The tankiness of the Ogre Magi is helping him live for a very long time. One more right click, gets it with the gush, actually, as the Tidehunter finally gets Tunisia on the board, 1-3. That was a very costly fight in general for Tunisia, though. I mean, throwing so many heroes, they lost a ton. They teleported in a bunch, and all they got was support out of that. They didn't even get the other one, the Vengeful Spirit, very wisely teleporting away like that.
Yeah, the Ursa going man mode against the Tidehunter, pushing him back behind the tier 1 tower, getting those Fury Swipes up, and then he thought, okay, well, I'm on a 3rd HP, I don't want to dive the tower, my supports are looping around behind, but Zeus ultimate.
Yep, and it's about to be up again, too. Speaking of which, this is something that I was actually talking to Fogged a lot about. Both him and I kind of playing this MMR race right now, and he was playing the Zeus, and he told me that he hates the Arcane Boots build. He actually goes for the Tranquil Soul Ring, and I actually experimented it with myself, and I feel it's a much stronger build just because the extra amount of harassment you get against the mid lane is just so much better. You can actually just spam out lightning bolts against them over and over and over again and force them back. So Ursa going in for a deep dive up against the Tidehunter. Zeus ultimate will be able to finish him off. Once again, Sunderland just sets up the Zeus for a free kill. Not going anywhere, just sitting in the middle lane, but still able to provide a serious impact. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, the Elder Titan was forced away. We do have the Ogre Magi just making sure he'll replace the Elder Titan in this lane, grab some of that experience for himself.
Yeah, that Soul Ring Tranquil stun there onto the Zeus.
Stun on the Zeus, but Link is not taking that opportunity to try and jump him, not feeling very confident about making that leap, and not really that surprising considering the lack of vision here for the side of Tunisia. They only have that one laning ring. That was laning ward that was just thrown down by the Skywrath Mage. When you look at Norway, they've got the Zeus completely protected on both sides of the river.
And they know they need it. So Midas phase up on the lifestealer. He's not gone for drums or any stats build. So he's going all out farming. I need gold. I need it quickly. And how's the Ursa doing? He's got his phase boots and Orb of Venom. He's going straight into that Vlad.
Slow onto the Ogre Magi. We do have the Fisher Sun that's going to come out. Look at the mass teleports. All three are going to be coming in. Norway is one to fight in exchange for this Ogre Magi, but he's not even going to go down. The high amount of armor, it's actually Lifestealer who's going to fall. Gets stunned up by the Vengeful Spirit as that last hit. 1-5 now, Norway. Heavy amount of TPs in, but they do successfully save their Ogre Magi, and that's what I was talking about earlier. 8 armor on this Ogre Magi. It's just too much. I mean, you would imagine, like, oh, he's a big tanky hero. This Feast is going to do a lot of damage, but that's really not the case. It's the armor that protects the Ogre Magi so much.
And once that Rage is down, that Lifestealer has no chance. Absolutely shredded by the Zeus as he TPs in. Does give Storm a little bit of breathing room. Same with the Tidehunter. He's now got Arcane Boots, level 6.
Yeah, hopefully they can do something big with this Ravage. They're going to need it at this point, 9 minutes in, and they're already suffering a bit. Though if you look at actually the gold graph and the experience graph, it is not going that heavily in the favor of Norway, despite the fact that I felt like they should be doing much better in their lanes. If you look at the CS, Storm Spirit is actually edging out the Zeus right now, just barely in CS. Stun onto Storm Spirit. He does actually take that one. And will now turn onto the Vengeful Spirit. Not sure why they tried to go for this dive. Now Ursa is going to be kited around a little bit, trying to get on the Skywrath Mage. Zeus ultimate, forcing them back a bit. And Norway should be able to make a clean extraction here. They're still going to be going in up against that Vengeful Spirit, but Link has actually put himself in some serious danger. No man on him. Meanwhile, the Tidehunter throws an ultimate. Not going to stop the bear, though. Eats up that Kraken. And the Zeus as well, able to take down that Skywrath Mage in the back. So a very successful 1-for-2 trade there as they managed to get the extra kill on the offlaner of Tunisia. Very successful fight for Norway.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that the Ursa hasn't gone for a really quick blink. He's gone for Orb of Venom, then entering a Basilius, and now Magic Stick. So he's delaying that next big item. It looks like he's going to be going Vlad's first, then maybe, like you said, take a Roshan and build up to that Blink Dagger. Then again, it is only 10 minutes in. What is Lifestealer bringing out to himself? Bracer. So he is going for the drums.
Yeah, so a mass race car build here for the Lifestealer. Can't really blame him too much. I mean, he's going to need a lot of that movement speed going up against the Ursa. He's going to have to just kite that hero around and play around his support just to be able to provide those disables necessary, because again, he cannot win that man fight, which normally Lifestealer is always able to do, but up against certain heroes, it's just not possible. You can see the supports of Tunisia really trying to roam around the map and make something happen here. And they are making a lot of room for both the Lifestealer and the Storm Spirit. You can see they're still top of the board. It's the only reason that Tunisia are not really far behind. But yeah, he's going to be running in. Finds the Earthshaker, already stunned up, slowed down as well. The silence keeping the Ursa at bay, making sure he can't get off that Earthshock, and obviously the slow getting the Earthshaker away. So attempt at a little bit of roaming there from the Ursa, not quite good enough. But I think this aggression actually plays into a potential Ursa. I mean, if he's constantly off map, you always go, oh, he's got to be doing Roshan right now. But the reality is this Ursa is off map quite a bit, but he's actually going for these hero kills. And eventually, they're going to get a little bit complacent and go, oh, he's looking for hero kills. He's going to be going for a dive. But the reality is he's in that Roche pit. Stun, a little bit of an ultimate going out. It looks like they tried to catch out the Storm Spirit, burst him down real quickly. That's not going to be the case, though.
They thought they had enough with the Spirit, the Bolt, and the ultimate from Zeus. Not quite.
And another pause as Norway need a couple of seconds here. But overall, I mean, between the high amount of CS, I mean, look at him. He's 7, 8, and 23. He is over 7 at Xing his lane right now. Plus, he has a hand of Midas. He's got that infest to be able to occasionally go into the jungle, farm up, big creep if he feels like it. He's doing really well despite the fact that he had that early death. But what is the Lifestealer like? At what point in time do you stop farming on the Lifestealer? Do you actually go for some of these early fights, or do you wait until like really late game when you've got like an Assault Cuirass and Abyssal Blade? Then maybe the Lifestealer can fight up against that Ursa because he's got a heavy amount of armor and he's got to disable himself.
I think it's got to do more with his team. Like, do you wait for Storm to get his BKB? Do you wait for Scarth to get boots? Because he's sitting there on 420 gold just waiting. Can I buy boots now, please? It's 12 minutes into the game.
Especially with his low amount of armor, the Ursa just eats him up every single time. So
I think it relies entirely on Storm Spirit and his decision when it's ready to actually go and fight.
Right.
Do you wait for just Ogre Club? Do you wait for Oblivion Staff and Orchid, or do you just go now?
Well, you can see the Storm Spirit. They're going to try and make something happen here without the Lifestealer as he continues to farm up the bottom lane. You can see the top lane, Ogre Magi playing it a bit aggressively there. Getting a small stun on the Tidehunter. Just doing some harassment, making sure the Tidehunter doesn't feel confident coming forward, especially since you've got that multicast ready to go on the Ogre. You never know when potentially just a Fire Blast turns into an easy kill thanks to a 2x multicast.
Yeah, net worth-wise, the Ursa isn't doing great. He's now behind the Storm.
Yeah, he's spending so much time roaming around that is just way behind in farm compared to the Lifestealer, who was already so far ahead of him in CS, but then the Midas starts kicking into play as well. You could see Joey does agree with us, though. He's going to be going for the Yule Scepter for this game. That's going to be the way he deals with the potential Orchid. And I say potential. I feel like it has to be an Orchid for the Storm Spirit, as well as the Silence from the Skywrath Mage as well. Top lane, we do have teleports coming in. The tower is in deny range. Norway put it there, but now they're going to be punished for it. So Ravage goes out, catches the Vengeful Spirit only, but the Storm Spirit will make sure to grab the Ursa, and that'll be a double there for Tunisia, punishing Norway, attempting to take that hero with only 2 heroes like that. It feels like a very, very greedy play from them.
And Norway doesn't gain anything anywhere else on the map. They're going to try and put pressure onto the tier 1 mid, but the reaction time, look at that. As I say it, they're TPing in.
Yes, ooh, I'm not sure about the Tidehunter. He doesn't have a Ravage here and immediately gets blown up. Sure enough, L-Tide going to be jumped in with the Lifestealer bomb, and it's now going to be going on the Zeus. They do not have a swap here for the Vengeful Spirit. Zeus is, there goes the Yule Scepter. They just need a little bit of extra, but they're not going to get it. The Vengeful Spirit able to stun him up farther down. We do have the Ogre Magi, 17 health, but the last bolt will do the trick. As Ogre Magi run as fast as you can, pop a smoke, it doesn't matter. That bolt will find its mark.
I just wonder if it was more worth it to go for the Zeus kill than chase the Ogre, because he takes such a long time to chase down and get that last hit on him. Because, you know, 1 Arcane Bolt on the Zeus would have finished him.
Yep. Oh, they needed 1 right click. Anything would have done the trick.
Just breathe on him and he falls over.
Exactly. Well, Joey's going to be happy getting away. That means he's going to have his level 2 ultimate rather soon. And Vengeful Spirit, I'm hoping she's going to spend just 30 seconds here in this middle lane. That way you can pick up that swap, because, again, we talked about how important it is up against the Lifestealer, who just locks on 1 hero with that open wounds, pops the Rage, and tries to gobble him up. If you have a swap, even just a couple of seconds of disrupting the Lifestealer's damage can mean so much. And being able to save one of your cores, and once that once that Rage is down, all he has left is the Infest to be able to save himself from the heavy nuking power of Norway.
What do you go as Lifestealer here? Because with an armlet, obviously the cooldown for Zeus's spells is pretty high, so you can dodge through them. Ursa's attack speed pretty low unless he's got overpower on, so you can wait for overpower to finish and then toggle armlet. Or do you go for, like you said, the race car build, go Sandiniata? Do you go for Abyssal Blade straight off the bat to lock down that Ursa?
I don't know, it's so tough to be able to go Abyssal Blade really, really early on. I feel like that's an item that you have to build after a decent amount of items you already have. You need a heavy amount of attack speed to take advantage of that bash proc, so...
Well, how about you go really old school, you build Mjolnir? Because with a static charge on you against all of this damage incoming, you can be Lifestealer. You go in with static charge on, rage halfway through team fight, and then just demolish the Zeus.
As you can see, Roshan's going to be falling here to Norway, as Ursa will grab himself an Aegis. Still doesn't have that blast, but is able to take it anyway. Again, thanks to the change-up of Fury Swipes. Middle, oh, there it goes, Link. I was watching that damage, the Lightning Bolt, then they threw the Spirit in, and finally the Ultimate was able to drop that Storm Spirit. This poor guy, man, he has to try and make, basically the only way to dodge that is trying to make a ball lightning jump as the Ultimate is being dropped on you, and that's just such a hard timing to get.
Listen for the clap.
Yeah. We're going to see... I don't know. What do you think the Elder Titan here is? He's going to be going for a Force Staff, I presume, up against a Lifestealer.
I think Force Staff's a good item. Yeah. But the trouble is, if you try and dodge it, you listen for the clap and you dodge that ultimate. Now with the change, you know, you can't spam the ultimate from Zeus or spam cancel. So you can only do it once within 15 seconds or something. So if he cancels the animation of his ultimate once, you hear the clap. If he does it a second time, you don't hear it coming.
Look at Sunderland here. He's wrapping around. He's got himself an Invis rune, and he's found a tasty little Earthshaker. As long as he's able to get off the slow, and sure enough, he will get it. And Enchant Totem will slow him down. Echo Slam also going out. Not going to be good enough. Meanwhile, the Storm Spirit jumps in. Nice swap. But the Ogre Magi will still fall. And oh, Jesus. That poor Ravage goes out. They are going to be able to lock down some of these heroes, but it feels like their damage is all gone. And sure enough, there goes the Tidehunter. Now the Lifestealer is going to be melted as well as, geez, look at that damage coming out from the Elder Titan. Now Link trying to jump on Joey here, but he's going to need to pull out some moves to try and get away. Norway on hot pursuit, but Link already has enough mana to get out. Zeus going to teleport away, knowing that the Storm Spirit was going to try and jump back in, and that's a buyback completely wasted there. That's going to be Tunisia. I mean, look at that team fight recap. That's almost 3,500 gold swing right there. You add in the heavy amount of experience they got on top of that, and Norway are now sitting very pretty with their lineup at 17 minutes in.
That was so close there. The last jump from Storm Spirit when he went onto the Zeus while TPing didn't have enough mana for Vortex. Just came off cooldown, slightly short.
1,200 gold on the Ursa. Still expecting to see that mobility item, still expecting to see the Blink Dagger picked up by him just because it's going to be so strong against many of these heroes. Is again, Skywrath Mage, even the Tidehunter. I like the Ursa just jumping on the Tidehunter forces that Tidehunter to Ravage most likely. I mean, he's just going to have to defensively Ravage, and then at that point, sure, you get stunned up, but the rest of your team can follow suit after the Ravage has been spent, maybe even swap you out.
Lifestealer picks up the Asher.
And I like this, the Blink Dagger pickup on the Zeus. So combined with the Eul's Scepter, it means not only disabling, keep getting that silence off of you from the Orchid as well as the Skywrath Mage, but then you could just blink away to safety after that. Tier 1 tower going to be falling here as Tunisia back themselves up, not able to deal with this Elder Titan and the spam spirit that is coming at them. So they have to back themselves up, give up that free tower to Norway. Meanwhile, IeSF going to be trying to go for the Tier 1 at the bottom lane. You can see Norway are not paying it any mind whatsoever. They're going to try and force a fight here in the next 2 minutes with this Aegis. Slow down. If they don't actually find a fight here, they'll just take the Tier 2. Versus trying to take it as fast as he can, but the increased armor in Tier 2s, the extra 5 armor that they have, they went from 20 to 25 armor with the most recent patch. This is really tough to take Tier 2s pre-20 minutes. You just, generally, teams don't have the damage.
The trouble is, if they don't take it soon, Tidehunter's going to have Ravage. That's off cooldown in about 10 seconds.
At this point, do you still go for an Orchid? I mean,
The Storm.
Yeah, the Storm. Like, do you still go for an Orchid on him? Because Zeus has already all the counters he needs. And then the rest of the heroes, like, sure, maybe it's good versus the Elder Titan. Uh-oh. IeSF's going to be found out here. He does have an Infest, but it doesn't matter. Look at the damage. It's too much. The Elder Titan combined with the mass nukes of Norway destroy that Lifestealer. Just a heartbeat. He had no possibilities of being able to get off the Rage, and now that means that we're going to be seeing probably this Tier 1 tower going down without any response from Tunisia.
It goes back to what we were saying about the Lifestealer. When do you start joining your team? And I still think it comes down to the Storm and when his next item comes. And what the next item is. I thought originally, like you said, go for the Orchid. You've got lockdown for the ET, you can stop the Ogre and Venge in their tracks. Try and get kills with just those 2 heroes while Earthshaker tries to farm Blink Dagger. But at this point, there is no room on the map for any of their heroes to farm. Storm is really high up that lane because he knows all 5 of Norway are a bot. But mid left uncontested because they can't actually go there. Bot lane are going to try and defend Tier 2. And now Storm is forced back.
Yeah, the Ursa teleporting up to the top lane does have a Blink Dagger, another 1,000 gold. So Link is just kind of left to try and farm up the jungle, but not even that safe. But yeah, I'm not sure. Orchid is such an important damage dealing item for the Storm Spirit. It gives you a lot of mana, a ton of regeneration, increases your damage by a fair amount. Like, a lot of the damage from the Storm Spirit actually comes from your right click. So it's kind of important to have the heavy amount of attack speed plus a little bit of extra damage. So Orchid is kind of one of those ideal items. But if you're forced into anything else, Storm Spirit usually is, especially if he's forced into an early BKB, he's usually hating life at that point.
Yeah, it's the same with Ember Spirit, you know, you want to be building Maelstrom, Battle Fury, Drums, Phase, whatever, but you need BKB in some situations, and that just limits your gameplay potential massively. And I'm looking at the Ogre. Okay, he's going for a Force Staff. I thought maybe he'd go straight for the Aghanim's or even a Blink Dagger. The Euls wouldn't be too bad on him. You've got double Euls, get Tidehunter and the Skywrath up in the air, or maybe the Storm Spirit. Take 2 heroes out of the team fight completely. I mean, imagine the Storm Spirit jumps in with Lifestealer inside him, you take out the Storm Spirit, then the Lifestealer.
Nice warding here from Norway. Really love this ward, especially when you're keeping so much. Like, you've already taken down that Tier 1 tower, and your carry wants to be able to still sit in that safe lane. That ward is beautiful for being able to see those oncoming ganks. And then Elder Titan, he's actually got himself a Void Stone as well. So do you think this is actually a second Eul's Scepter, or is he going to be going for a little bit more late game and trying to pick up a Scythe of Ice 10 minutes from now?
I think Eul's is entirely... Like, I thought the Ogre was building one. That's why he was saving up so much money. I think the ET could potentially pick up one very soon. It couples up decently with Echo Stomp, so you can lock one down, get the Earthshaker or Skywrath, whoever it is. But I think it's mainly the initiation and counter-initiation from Raze. If you've got fast enough reactions, you can catch them off guard while they're jumping on you and send them up in the air. Then you've got the second Euls. You can stop them in their tracks. And if that's if that's the case, Storm Spirit and Lifestealer jump in towards you, you use one, then the Tidehunter blinks in and ravages and thinks, oh crap, my damage potential just completely out the window because one of my heroes is up in the air.
Right.
What do I do? Then the Ursa jumps in, counter initiation. That team fight completely comes around.
Look at Link. I mean, they're looking so hard for a potential pickoff here. But they're also so scared at the same time. They're going to jump in way past the other Titan. Now they see him. Going to be able to grab him and will take him down nice and quick. As Norway, no teleports in, but they're going to turn around, try and blow up the Earthshaker. Not quite enough, as now the Ravage catches both of them. Skywrath Mage trying to silence up the Ogre, does what he can, but now he's going to be taken out by the Zeus. Now the Ogre turns around on the Tidehunter. It's going to be a massacre here as Tunisia jump in and claim the Elder Titan's life, but boy, did they pay for it. In return, they lose 3 heroes and the Lifestealer, forced off of lane as well.
I thought, oh god, Ogre, where are you going? Walking into the middle of 5 of them. Ravage expended, but they couldn't finish anyone off. Lifestealer and Storm already, hightailing it out of that team fight. They don't want anything to do with that. They don't get a tier 1 tower. Like you said, 3-for-1 trade. I'm not sure that's worth it at all.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a split of focus there. I mean, they silenced up the Ogre Magi, and they actually had like some damage being thrown onto him. At the same time, the Zeus would be the better target, and they did have the Skywrath Mage right next to him. But they just needed to be able to focus down one of these heroes, and it's got to be the Zeus, I would say, 9 times out of 10. The problem is that Yule Scepter is causing you so many issues, especially when it's paired up with that Blink Dagger, and he's still going to be actually pretty tanky. Look at him. He's almost finished up his Aghanim Scepter. He's 3/4 of the way there.
Yeah, first Oblivion Staff is done for Storm, so he's going for that Orchid, but it's going to be so late. You're looking for Storm to, have a 20-minute Orchid, maybe 23, 24 if you're...
If you were to pick it up right now, you would still say that's a late Orchid.
Yeah.
Ooh, Storm Spirit jumping in, grabbing that bounty rune, is going to be making the jump away right under the Ursa's nose. As it seems like Ursa's going to be going for the BKB as his next item. I thought about, maybe you go for a little bit more greedier build and maybe try and build that early Basher, just so you have that a chance to be able to have that disable him, but it seems like he's going to be going for the safer route, BKB, pretty natural after the Vlads.
Yeah, we've seen how many times the Skywrath has silenced him before he can get his overpower off.
Right.
And that just mitigates him completely. So he walks in, he hits someone twice, he's silenced up, he can't really do too much.
Blood is going to take the opportunity to farm up some of this bottom lane, as he would love to pick up a Blink Dagger. They're really going to need that initiation here in the upcoming team fights, because it seems like the Tidehunter just isn't doing the trick so far. It's just not enough disabled time for them. They need a lot more. They need a lot more damage. Link in some trouble here. Joey trying to blow him up. Doesn't have his ultimate anymore, though.
That combo is so devastating.
It really is. There's just nothing you can do. The Elder Titan Spirit just kind of wanders in, and Zeus throws those long-range lightning bolts. How's our Lifestealer doing? Right now, he's sitting at level 15. He has an S&Y plus drums and phase boots. Has another 2,200 gold off of that. I feel like you have to have a disable, though. I feel like you kind of have to go Basher as your next item. You've got a decent amount of attack speed now. Obviously, when you pop the Rage, it gets even better, but I think you've got enough to try and be able to lock down some of these heroes. I mean, you have to get these stuns out. The stuns that they currently have are just not enough, with the Zeus always being able to slip in a Yule Scepter on somebody, whether it's the enemy or himself, and then you've got all these stuns that are going to be coming in. Like, I think your only opportunity here is just to be able to find one hero, lock him down with the various disables plus the Basher. I think that's really your only hope here for Tunisia. They're going to try and do some more Lifestealer bombs, but...
Well, they've got the Orchid on the Storm Spirit now, 26 minutes in. Yeah. It's late, but it could be a turning point in this game.
And we'll see whether or not they can actually find those pickoffs, but we can see Norway. I don't think they're going to be splitting up anytime soon, as they know the possibility of a Storm Spirit Lifestealer. That's one of those kind of free kills. If you find somebody by yourself, they're going to be done for. So you can see they're going to be trying to sneak in a Roshan here, but Raze already on the way, going to be revealing themselves with the ward, grabbing the rune. Zeus ultimate already going off, actually pops a regen. Now we have the Lifestealer trying to jump on him. Yule Scepter going to be used on himself. Meanwhile, the stomp onto 2 there. Beautiful. The ultimate's going to go off, snaps the Earthshaker. Now going to be able to get the Tidehunter. No, he gets the Ravage off now. Going to be able to control 4 different heroes. The Lifestealer trying to gobble up what he can, but he just can't lock down one hero without the Rage. Easily disabled. Sure, Link is going to get 1 kill, but almost pays with it with his life. Oh, he runs right into the wall there. Couldn't get up the cliff, and a complete wipe there as Norway only lose their 2 supports in exchange for that great team fight for them.
Plus Roshan.
plus Roshan. They get the Aegis as well into the Ursa. Now going to have a BKB for him, so he's going to be unstoppable in these team fights. And sure enough, look at that, the Elder Titan, he's going to have a Eul Scepter as well soon.
That Earth Splitter was so perfectly placed, though. The Zeus ultimate obviously preempting that aggressive movement from Raze.
Yeah, expecting the blinks to be coming out from the Tidehunter, but the possibility of an Earthshaker blink, you know, if they didn't see him in the last couple minutes, they may have assumed he had a blink as well. So really good play by the Zeus just to make sure those initiations didn't happen.
I think it comes a bit... Oh, I think it's good from there.
Yeah, stomp onto Bingu, and maybe the slow goes onto him, but doesn't look like they want to commit. Despite the fact that they have a BKB and they have the Aegis, Norway are going to continue to play this safe.
I think it came down to a bit of misdirection and miscommunication from Raze. Storm jumped in and then immediately balled out. Because, like you said, they wanted the Tide to jump in at exactly the same time, get the initiation there, and hit the nail on the head. And then Lifestealer jumped out and was like, okay, where's my team?
Yeah, the Storm Spirit instantly jumping away like that. Again, he's still got another 2,200 gold. Still got that Midas, keeping him in the race in net worth. Right now, he's above the Ursa, still behind the Zeus, though. And if you look at the Storm Spirit, he's way behind, even behind the Elder Titan, which at this point, I mean, Elder Titan is usually not a hero known for a high amount of net worth. Again, as we were saying, he's kind of, you know, feeds in the off lane for the first couple of kills. Then we go into the mid game. He's getting a lot of assists. He's not really claiming many of those bounties.
But he's got kills. He's 5, 2, and 8.
Yeah. He's actually been swinging pretty damn hard. He's actually a hero that is one of the few heroes that if you get a lot of spirit charges and are able to bring that spirit back, you can actually contest the lifesteal. And we've seen that a couple times where he's been able to bring the spirit back and is just locked onto that lifesteal and laid that physical damage into him. And still able to take him down despite the fact that he had Rage going.
Norway not giving Raze an inch. TPing back to tier 1 to stop that Storm farming. Lifestealer having a good old time up on top lane. But they've got no tier 1 there to TP to.
Yeah, look at that. The Basher is going to be picked up here by the Lifestealer. Expends almost every bit of gold he has just to be able to have that chance to lock down these heroes. If they can, you know, push this into late game, I think there's a strong possibility here that Tunisia can have a comeback, but it's going to be like delaying this game out for another half hour. And unfortunately, Norway don't really seem to be, as you said, they don't seem to be giving them an inch. They're always making sure, especially now with the Boots of Travel being picked up by the Ursa, they're constantly moving around the map. They may not have like the greatest pushing power in the world, like Zeus, Elder Titan. You know, these heroes aren't really known for their right-click damage on towers necessarily. So when it comes down to it, these towers are going to be slow and falling. And normally that's an opportunity to split push, but you could see Norway, in order to make up for the lack of really early pushing power and the ability to take down these fast tier 3s, is the fact that they're just going to make sure that they always have the map covered. They always have these lanes pushed out in their advantage.
One of the troubles, though, with Norway's draft is that they are kind of on a timer.
They are.
Ursa is a hero that has a massive problem with item progression because he has an item slot used up for Blink, BKB, Vlad's. Boots of Travel now picked up by him. But you have to start selling your key items to pick up new ones. And if he wants a heart, if he wants an Abyssal Blade or a Hex, he's going to have to start selling items.
Yeah, you can see right now, taking a look at the net worth, we do have a 10,000 gold lead right now for Norway and slightly below 10,000 experience lead. Certainly not a insurmountable lead, but one hell of a big one at 30 minutes in. Raze do have some turtling power. Mainly it comes from their big team fight heroes, the Tidehunter and the Earthshaker. Kind of tough to push in, especially the Earthshaker and his Fisher spam, sometimes blocking out the whole entire push just to make sure they have a few extra seconds. And if they end up being forced back, there's always the possibility of the Lifestealer, Skywrath Mage, maybe even the Storm Spirit, being able to have that one pick off. Your team moves back, sometimes there's people who lag behind, and that's opportunities right there for Tunisia.
Well, they've been given the opportunity to farm. The Storm after the Orchid has picked up 2,000 gold, heading towards a BKB, I hope. And then Lifestealer, 1,600 back in the bank after picking up the Basher.
I feel like you still need more hard disable for Tunisia, and that's why I'm kind of thinking like Storm Spirit. Maybe he tries to go for the Scythe of Ice. I mean, he's got 2,300 gold. Obviously, it's a great intelligence item, gives you a lot of damage, but it's mainly that hard disable that I'm looking for. In order to, when you're dealing with so many Eul Scepters, silences are just not going to cut it at this point.
But the trouble with Hex is that...
The ultimate being dropped there. Ursa, Golden Bear is going to be able to chase down both the Tidehunter as well as the Earthshaker with the help of the Zeus ultimate. And they're even going to be able to take down some vision as well, something that we really haven't seen too much, but Joey does take down that very defensive vision from the side of Tunisia.
Yeah, the main problem with Hex is that the component items are dead in the water. They don't really do anything for Storm. Sure, the stats from Ultimate Orb are nice, but the amount of gold you pay for that is absolutely enormous.
Yeah, you really need something that's going to provide a big impact now, and 6th IeSF is just not one of those items, just because it's going to be another 10 minutes at least before you pick that one up.
And when you've got the big bad bear knocking on your door at the tier 3,
yeah,
and really then 3 times multicast on the lifesteal, taking him down to half.
Yeah, already. He's going to have to just go back to base. He does have another 2,000 gold, so he's really keeping up his net worth, despite the fact that it feels like Tunisia is being shut out of this game pretty well by Norway. Lifestealer is still finding those openings. Of course, a lot of it pays into that early Midas pickup. I have to say, I think this Midas was 100% on the money. I think that you had to have this growth item. You have to try and push this into late game. That way, if you do get stalled out like this, you're still able to keep up with the enemy team. We do have the Blink Dagger up on the Earthshaker, and that is going to be very, very key. But it seems like Norway are content to just let this one draw out a little bit. I mean, they've already taken 2 Roshans. The next one is going to hold the cheese. Huge advantage there for their team if they're able to take it. And obviously, with the map control that they're holding on to right now, it's hugely in their advantage. Not only do they have the dire side advantage, which has been mitigated in the last patch, but is still there. Then on top of that, they've taken down all the tier 1s, all the tier 2s. So Tunisia really have no vision whatsoever and no control over this map.
Yeah, they're just looking for their next big items. Refresher on Zeus isn't far away, about 750 gold.
Bye-bye Skywrath Mage.
Oh, Ursa's going for a Hex, it looks like. I don't think it's going to be a Lincoln's. Seeing as he has the BKB,
like
you don't need another defensive item.
I mean, it's either the Abyssal Blade or the 6th IeSF, right? Sometimes we see both, but again, the item builds for Ursa are pretty normal, and you need that kind of hard disable, and a lot of people choose to go for the 6th IeSF. It seems like...
I guess a Storm is great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now Norway, they started off beating on that tier 3 tower, did about a good 400, 500 damage into it. Now made their rotation to the bottom lane, staying very grouped up, making sure there's no opportunities for the Storm Spirit to find the openings. But Storm Spirit actually went for the defensive item pickup.
Yep.
Grabbed the BKB.
The trouble is if they group up, that opens up the fight for Tide.
Right.
And we've also got Blink Dagger on our circle.
Yeah, and that could be quite huge. Though I still can't wait to see this Refresher on Zeus. Because Aghanim's Refresher... So that's what, 1,300 damage?
Plus the ET Spirit.
So you don't even need the ET Spirit to kill the Skywrath Mage.
Oh, they spot the smoke with a Zeus ulti.
Oh, nice. And that means Tunisia, their one opportunity to be able to get some map control, right? Always, when you're locked inside the base, you need to look for those opportunities to 5-man smoke, find a pickoff, and then the enemy team's going to be too scared to fight you anymore. You take some map control, you get some farm. But it all depends on those smokes. And when smokes fail like this, all Norway has to do is just back up, wait 30 seconds, and then go back in, take over the map once again. So they are only going to have a limited amount of farming time before Norway feel confident enough to push in again. 10 to 25, 35 minutes in. This is the second last game of the night. Tunisia versus Team Norway. After this, we're going to be having Korea versus Sweden in a matchup that is basically Sweden's last lifeline after they lost to Russia. They have to win up against Korea if they want to be able to stay in this tournament. There's the refresher now for Zeus.
And they have to win within a time limit.
Yeah, they do. It's going to be coming down to a tiebreaker if they do win. And that's why we may be seeing maybe a little bit of cheese. Maybe they go in for an all-in Pugna strat or something like that, just to be able to win and win fast. Norway checking out the Roshan pit. We know that's going to be coming up here in not too long. Meanwhile, Haya, I mean, look at that. He can actually grab his Abyssal now and still hold on to a little bit of extra gold. He's obviously going to need to farm up some more in order to have that buyback, but that's a big disable item. That's a big damage dealing item, and still be able to hold buyback as well. I mean, I think Tunisia actually have a really good shot of being able to push back this next death push.
Yeah, the great
teleport away. No, Link couldn't make it. He popped the BKB as well and still falls. That's going to be a huge loss for them because now Norway are going to be going into the Roshan pit, and there's no way Tunisia can contest them.
And the great thing is Lifestealer needs 200 gold now, and then he's 200 gold gives him enough unreliable gold to give him that the Abyssal Blade, and then he's got 1376, which is enough for buyback and reliable, so he'll always have buyback.
Yeah, that's huge. And they're actually going to give the Aegis over to the Zeus, and our cheese is going to be pocketed by the Ursa.
And I think it's little things like that, building up your unreliable gold so you can spend it and holding on to the reliable gold, which really does separate players from being amateur and professional, and it's something we used to see Alliance do a lot. Admiral Bulldog in particular, back at TI3, was save up 5,000 gold. You think, why is he doing that? He could just buy the item right now, but no, he's saving up 5,000 gold because he wants to keep that 1,500 gold reliable for his buyback.
Norway are now going to be going in for this push. They have the Aegis, they have the cheese. They could wait for the 6th IeSF on the Ursa, but it doesn't seem like they want to. He's really close to it too. He just needs another 500 gold and he'll have it. Hell, even another 600 gold on the Ogre Magi, and that could be a Aghanim's, which is another big upgrade, but they're going to go for it anyway. The tier 3 already knocked down to 300 health. Ursa will clean up those last couple of dots and take it down, and Tunisia need to find an opening somewhere, but look at the spread here from Norway. There is no good opportunity for this Tidehunter to catch multiple heroes in a good Ravage, let alone a good Echo Slam. The ultimate goes out, Link almost dropping from that one, but is able to make his way back to the fountain. This buys the Ursa time to finish up his ranged racks before the Storm Spirit is ready to reinitiate, though they'll probably try for it soon. The Stomp goes out, and Norway will actually be able to claim a melee racks here. Tunisia just going to give everything up. Now the teleports come in. There looks like they're going to try and get some sort of pick off here. The Ravage goes off, able to hold in. There goes the Zeus, blown up immediately, but he does have it Aegis. He's going to be coming at me in just a short amount of time here. Lifestealer trying to gun for this Ursa, is locking him down, but the ultimate from the Zeus is able to knock out 2. Go in for a 3rd. There he goes. The Lifestealer is out. Immediately the buyback comes in. And maybe with the Storm Spirit, they can find some sort of opening. But look at Norway. They're all still so healthy. They went for the Ursa. The Lysier was trying to lock him down as best as he could, and he still couldn't finish him off.
That swap from the Venge, though, over the Fissure, so the Lifestealer is caught on the wrong side, now gets used up, stomped.
Rage pops the Rage just in time. Meanwhile, the Ogre Magi is going to be jumped in. Orchid will blow him up here, but Link is completely out of mana. Gets destroyed. He does have a buyback if necessary, but I doubt Norway are going to be gunning for 2 here. They lost the Ogre Magi. Probably best to back themselves up, but now they say they want to try and end this game right here, right now. Courier gets fed away to Norway there. Not sure what that was. As even the Zeus is going to be able to grab himself some boots of travel. The Vengeful Spirit slowed down. And Lifestealer will be able to gobble him up. Meanwhile, the jump in on the Yellow Titan gets him an additional kill. And sure enough, Norway's greedy push will cost them a couple of hero kills. Meanwhile, Ursa will be able to kill the Skywrath Mage, now trying to get onto the Earthshaker, who's trying to kite him around as best as possible. Link is out of mana, but if they can just get in some right clicks, Blood is too scared of the Ursa at this point in time. They just need a couple right clicks, still gets the blink away, they teleport out, and Raze Tunisia unable to get the pick off on the Ursa. It felt like he should have been just such a simple, easy kill there. Just kite him around a little bit, but you can understand the Earthshaker's fear there is that if he provides a body, any sort of warm body there for the Ursa to hit, he's going to get a whole bunch of stacks of Fury Swipes and Vlad's lifesteal up a bunch, and he may actually survive because of that. But
yeah, true.
Not getting that right click in, instead, just plays into Norway's hands.
Lifestealer has decided it's time.
It's finally time. I really thought he should have picked it up for that last team fight, but he now has Hyperstone on top of that. So if he can get an Assault Cuirass, again, that combination, the high amount of attack speed, the high amount of armor from Assault Cuirass mixed in with the disable of the Abyssal Blade, that is the way the Lifestealer can actually start contesting the Ursa in the man fight. But
yeah, he would have liked to keep that 2,000 gold for buyback, but he doesn't have that for another 5 minutes.
Blade Mail actually being picked up now by the Elder Titan.
That's kind of weird because ET has always been sitting right to the back of the fight, getting the Spirit off. The amount of times he was fishing for stomps, but 7 or 8 times when they were taking the mid-racks, just sat all the way out of base.
Norway gunning for a big pick off here, trying to go for bingo, but it was a bit of a bait there. They're going to jump in, grab the Ursa, try and burst him down. The BKB goes off. They just need another right click, and they get him. Now the Ursa is down, and Raze are having a good time trying to chase down the rest of them. Buyback here from the Ursa. It's going to force back Tunisia. In fact, they're going to lose their Lifestealers, the Aghanim's. From the Ogre Magi ensures they have enough stuns to be able to finish him off. Now the Skywrath Mage is also going to fall as the Spirit chases him down, and all they need is one last nuke. Eventually, it seems like it takes like a half an hour, but eventually that Skywrath Mage disabled does go away, and Joey now gets that beyond godlike streak.
They can go for game now. There's no Ravage, so Tide is a pretty useless hero. Oh, as I say that, he picks up that item.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very big. It's going to be on him and the Storm Spirit to try and defend this for the next 70 seconds.
Because that's going to be completely unexpected.
Stun goes out. Norway trying to beat on this melee racks. And it seems like our Tidehunter. Now the jump in, Storm Spirit. Oh, just a small little fake there. Looks like they may give up just a second set of racks and wait for Norway to try and go for the bottom lane of racks. Though they can't afford to lose their Tidehunter here. Get stunned up. Obviously, the Kraken Shell will do a lot to protect him, but not if Verse is able to get onto him. Storm Spirit, meanwhile, trying to jump onto the Zeus, is turned into a little piggy and can't make the jump away just in time. Manages to get out before the next set. Oh, and as I say that, of course, as the words leave my mouth. Can't forget about that Zeus ultimate. Pops it to finish off the Storm Spirit. No ball lightning to save him. Now the Skywrath Mage falls as well, and what do you do with a refresher on a Tidehunter when you have no damage behind it?
Exactly. What can you do when both of your cores are dead without buyback?
Yeah. He just played a little bit too far forward. Able to get caught out by that Yule Scepter, and Norway will be taking down Tunisia. The GG is called. Well done by Norway. Very solid game by them. I mean, this is a team full of a lot of names you probably wouldn't recognize, but they've put on a really good showing in their group stage so far, went undefeated, and are going to be looking to try and head into the quarterfinals and possibly make it all the way to the grand finals, depending on what their quarterfinal matchup is.
Definitely great performance from both teams. I just think that Norway had that little bit of extra surprise factor with that Ursa pick.
Yes.
What do you do with it?
Yeah, I mean, the Lifestealer, again, it's a problem with the Lifestealer pickup. Many times grabbing it so early on to the draft can really get out of control. As you could see, Norway picked up one of the best counters to the Lifestealer. The first 35 minutes, the Ursa really just can't, or rather the Lifestealer just cannot deal with the power of the Ursa. So.
Plus the ET Zeus, the amount of times just throw the Spirit towards mid lane.
Yeah.
Storm Spirit has to go all the way back to base 3 or 4 times within the first 20 minutes because the ET is constantly there.
Yep, so very well done by Norway, and that means we're going to be taking a short little break here. And when we come back, we're going to have MVP Phoenix facing up against 4FC. It's going to be Team Sweden versus Team Korea to see whether or not Sweden can keep their hopes alive here at IeSF, or if Team Korea are going to be going completely, well, not completely undefeated.
I think they lost 1 game.
Yeah, they lost 1 game. So
they'll be 3-1.
Yeah.
No, 2-1. So there's four teams in a group.
We're good at math here. We're good at math. But yeah, guys, we're going to be taking a short little break, and when we come back, we'll have that match. So stick around, guys.